All right, I'd have to say most fan bases are hoping the big news that the Patriots are dead, they're dysfunctional, and they're going to collapse into the cellar of the NFL. They're all, I think most fan bases are hoping for this. I mean, as a Finn fan, I'm hoping for it as well. But my job here is not to be a Finn fan when I cover this stuff, in a sense that I'm just going to follow fandom. I'm going to try to follow the trail. And I have a very big concern for the Patriots in week 1 against the Dolphins. Not that I don't think Dolphins can win or whatever, but the Dolphins and the Patriots have big storylines that are going to unveil. And as a Finn fan, I hope my Dolphins are the ones to come out on top. But all this talk about the Patriots being dead has kind of had me pull down some of my concern for the Patriots. So I watched the game last night, the preseason game against the Giants. Little disappointed they pulled most of the starters on offense especially. But I dug into the first 2 quarters to see what I could find because I believe in honest evaluation here. It's what I tried to do to the best of my ability. I'm trying to not be hyperbolic as many big media especially tries to take their points of view. Now, I'm going to cover that 2 quarters, and there's going to be some interesting stuff. In summation, some of the concerns were validated, some weren't. There was some interesting stuff inside. And I am now leaning that the media and the Patriots being dead is not on target. Now, they might be dead, but not to the degree that you're hearing. But before I get into all that stuff, I just want to say thank you again for stopping by. I watched a bunch of shows the last couple of days, and it reminds me every single time how many good channels, how much good content is out there, from the big media to the little media. And so stopping by here, I'm very grateful to all of you for the likes, the subscribes, the comments, and the views, and all such. But I also want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Ace Per Head, because without them, this channel wouldn't surely be happening. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so the most important thing in football is the framework. It's everything. Anybody who's played football understands they're constantly controlling the way you live, the way you do things, because they understand framework is critical. Now, I'm not going to get into ownership or the GM or anything, but the framework has come into question as far as the staff. There's been lots of moves with the staff, most notably McDaniels going to the Raiders, Vegas Raiders. And there is some concerns I had after watching these first 2 quarters. It's only preseason, so I'm not going to write any checks, but you want to follow trends. There was an exorbitant amount of penalties pre-snap. There was even a pre-snap penalty on a kickoff. So there was some concerns there about the staff having the discipline that they're used to having, the discipline that's helped them win so much. And if you go back and you see the Dolphins' victories over the Patriots, a lot of it had to do with sloppy play and mistakes that were uncharacteristic of the Patriots teams. So if the Patriots want to dispel all these they're dead rumors, discipline, lack of penalties, especially pre-snap penalties, is critical. So I saw a lot of that. But then on the flip side, the offensive calling was good. Patricia, I thought, had a very good flow. I mean, he's not game planning and all this other stuff, but you could tell the way an offense flows by the way it calls. There was even a very timely screenplay, and I don't think he's going to be as good as McDaniels. McDaniels is excellent, so good. But I don't think he's going to be garbage time either. I felt, and it's only preseason, but I felt very smooth, a smooth flow and smooth calling to the offense. So I'm more concerned about the lack of discipline team-wide, but not so concerned about the play calls on the offense. Now, One thing that did strike me was there was speed on this offense that at the wide receiver position that was very interesting. Wilkerson's been there for a couple of years. He had some big plays, was able to break the zero press coverage. And Thornton, another guy they drafted in the second round, small fry 181, but the guy was a blazer, and he had a good game. Both these guys. And beating press coverage, zero, is going to help them so much with the Dolphins. And I think that's really what the main goal of this Patriots team is, to get that second place and get into the playoffs. Bills are really good, guys. I mean, they're not unbeatable, but if you're a Patriots fan, Jets fan, or Dolphins fan, I cover lots of Dolphins fans, this is a really good team. You have to understand that. They have been building. They're at a crescendo as far as everything coming together. And you worry about Dable, but I really don't. This is a tough team. The likelihood of the Dolphins or the Bills taking that first spot is possible, but highly improbable. Or I'll say improbable. That second spot is really what it's all about. And this breaking of the zero coverage, Howard is really good. But he does lack a little foot speed, and these two guys are small. Well, Thornton's 181. Wilkerson's like 200. But they're fast. And it's going to put pressure on these corners. And for the Dolphins, that is, we have to worry about Jones coming back for that week one. And then you add Parker. Thornton could really force the draw of that safety, leaving Parker or Wilkerson or somebody else one-on-one for a very good matchup. Not saying it's going to happen. Howard's excellent getting his hands on guys, and all, but then I'm going to talk into this illegal contact stuff, which can really shade things. And refs do what they did in this game, and it concerned me, but I'll dig into that later. But this looks like Hoyer was making these throws, and Matt can make these throws. It looks like they might have a chance to be more than just a short game offense. Now, Haran, their 6th overall pick a couple of years ago at tackle, he played left tackle. He continued to be bad. This is good news for us who aren't Patriots fans. A little bit of a concern for Patriots fans. He doesn't look like he's going anywhere. It looks like it's going to be another off year for him, developmental year, and maybe he'll never get there, but he might need another year of maturation to get to that point where he can be reliable, because he didn't look reliable to me at all. Now, Cole Strange, I really liked what he was about. I did a film study on him. It was a little shocking. He was taken 1st overall, but they needed that left guard bad. And sometimes you overpay if you need that one piece. And it was a run on offensive linemen, guards, and they weren't going to pick for a while. Cole Strange, though, looked pretty good. There were some flaws. In the past, I was going to do a film study on it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get many people to be excited about it as I am. So he had some lean issues. He was a little helter-skelter occasionally on some of his blocks, but he had a nice pull block. He had a nice drive block. And overall, he looked really good. Now, for us Finn fans, we paid a 2nd and a 3rd for Eichenberg, and he already looks like he's farther ahead than where Eichenberg was last year. And so if you look at the values, they're roughly in the same area. I'm hoping Eichenberg steps up and has a good season this year. But Cole Strange doesn't seem to be a disaster. Seems like he needs some maturation. But overall, he looks like he's going to fit this system. Now, defense, they struggled a bit in coverage. And there was a few QB moves where they picked up a 1st down, and Patriots had a little trouble getting to him. Now, it's not the whole defense and all this other stuff, so you can't really say much about it. But Mitchell was their 7th-round pick from like 2 years ago, and he played like 600 snaps last year, which is pretty crazy to have a cornerback in the 6th play that much. We have Nick Needham, who was undrafted, so it happens, and they can play good. He was okay last year. He was up and down in this game. They're going to really, really need that secondary, and that's one of the concerns I have for the Patriots. Hopes for Bills fans and for my Finns is that they don't cover well, because we're going to be focusing on our passing game. So there was a little up and down, little concerns as far as handling the quarterback on the move, which is good for Tua because Tua can get up there and do damage. And, of course, Allen, he's a beast. But then that secondary was, but we got to see how it develops. It's only the first preseason game. But it's a trend that we have to keep on tracking. Now, the Patriots did, one of the biggest weaknesses, one of the biggest keys is to stop the run. They couldn't stop the run last year. They struggled a little bit on edges in this game, but the interior, they really shut down the interior runs, and that's going to be big for them. And it's going to be important for them to do that, especially against the Bills. A little bit less, but still important for the Dolphins because we're going to be wide zone. And wide zone doesn't mean you always run wide. You come back, but you're really stretching. Where I'm not exactly certain what the Bills run. I think it's inside zone. So this is going to help them out a little bit with the Bills. But the Bills have upped their talent on the offensive line. And so this is going to be an interesting matchup. But it was a big key for the Patriots. Just trying to think of the Bills coach that they brought in. He's a good coach. Man, old timers sucks. Anyway, sorry, guys. So this is a big deal for the Bills matchup against the Patriots because they're not going to stop Allen. They're not, on the ground. They're not going to stop him in the air. But if they can limit that run game and get him into cold weather games or get him into poor situations, this could kind of put the ball a little bit in their court for maybe an opportunity to do a Hail Mary and get that win. Same with the Dolphins. Beating that zero coverage is critical. And so the Patriots made some advancements as far as the team-wide handling both their main opponents in the league. Jets, we have to see what happens to them. Now, one last point for my Dolphin fans and for Patriots fans, Raekwon McMillan. I don't know how he stays on his team. He's just not built for this era. He's so stiff in coverage. Can't really shed that well. And I know he gets rave reviews. He's a great guy. He's a good leader. And he does hustle to the ball. And he has great ability to shoot the gap. Pretty good. But he's so stiff in coverage, and he can't get off blocks. It looks like it's going to be a weakness, which is good for Bills and Fins fans. So it'll be interesting to see if he sticks, which I'm assuming he will, and if he can somehow overcome his many, many year limitations. Now, the last part, I'll let you look at this video of illegal contact by the refs who suck. I mean, they made one really good play during that game, but this is a disaster. Look at this thing. They called illegal contact on this play. I mean, that was good coverage. And this is my concern for the season. If this is in the fourth quarter or at some critical juncture, there's a big chunk of yards pulled out of a hole that you're going to get with these refs. I'm hoping that you can challenge these things. I don't know. I can't remember. But my concern is with this emphasis on defenders' contact against receivers is going to sway things. Anyway, small little know your enemy segment here. This is for Pats fans. I don't really have many to watch, but there are a few. So I'm loyal, so I want to help them cover their team. Fins fans and Bills fans are the two biggest fan bases that pay attention to me, so I wanted to cover them as well with this. Some fans, they just want to believe they're going to win all the time, and anything you say against them or for another team, you're an idiot. I'm trying to be an evaluator and give you a proper evaluation of the situation to the best of my ability. Doesn't mean I'm always right, but I'm really trying to balance out what I give here as far as coverage. I want to tell you the truth. I'd like to tell you in a happy vein, but I also want to cover it. I don't think the Patriots are dead yet. Not dead. They might be dead, but not totally obliterated as we're hearing. Anyway, Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end. Please like, comment, subscribe. Comments mean the most. It's all about people here with me, relationships. That's why I answer so many comments. I'm really grateful. I really love the interaction because that's how I learn. And that's how you develop relationships, which sadly in this crazy world, people don't really care too much about. Anyway, Curtis saying, catch you next time. Be well. See you soon. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.